the home of the Saints. This is Fox 8 Sports with Rob Ennis.
This guy's got a great clock in his head. The big thing is that he throws the ball so early that we're going to have to do a good job of finding ways to get to him. And then when we do get to him, then we're going to make sure we have a couple of remember me shots when we get there.
That was Saints defensive coordinator Greg Williams speaking on a Nashville radio station Tuesday about four-time MVP Peyton Manning. Manning hasn't responded to the comments. Colts head coach Jim Caldwell said opponents are welcome to use whatever motivational tools they deem necessary. Williams wants opposing quarterbacks punished. He says when you hit the quarterback, their entire team feels it.
You got to be able to affect the quarterback. You got to be able to hit the guy, and not all the ways. You can't always affect the quarterback with sacks and numbers-wise. It sometimes hits on the quarterback, and maybe just a little slight, push or something, anything to throw off his timing. You just can't just let him sit back there freely. The quarterbacks in this league are too good, and especially the quarterbacks we played the last 2 weeks are extremely some of the best, Hall of Fame guys.
The Saints certainly had some remember me shots on future Hall of Famer Kurt Warner, enough to force him into retirement.
I'm here to announce my retirement from the National Football League. Obviously, it's been 12 unbelievable years, 12 of the best years of my life, but I want everybody to know that I'm just as excited about the next 12.
The Saints hope their success against Warner and Brett Favre will only help against Manning. Sean Fazan on how the Saints are preparing for Peyton.
From Kurt Warner to Brett Favre and now Peyton Manning, the Saints have had quite a challenge this postseason with opposing quarterbacks. But players say they wouldn't have it any other way.
This is going to be possibly our third Hall of Fame quarterback that we're going to play in a row. And it's for all the marbles. So, we go in there and win the Super Bowl, and then we could always tip our hat to say that we had a tough road to get here, and then we got here and we won.
He likes to play with your disguise. He likes to see what you're going to do. So I think it's going to be a big-time chess match this week and next week, and it's going to be huge for us to try and show something, either and try and throw off their timing or the routes. He's so accurate. He's so much about timing, and their offense is everything. Underneath routes and all this other stuff. It's all involved around Peyton.
Now, while the Saints defense has to deal with Manning, the Colts defense has to deal with Brees. Together, Brees and Manning combined for 67 touchdown passes this season. That's third most in Super Bowl history. With the Saints, I'm Sean Fazan for Fox 8 Sports.
Sean, thanks. Join us tonight for the first ever Super Bowl edition of Saints Game Plan coming up at 10. Sunday night, Final Play will be live from Miami from 10 to 10:30. Meanwhile, Hornets backup full.
Most valuable player. This year's Super Bowl features the Indianapolis Colts against the New Orleans Saints. It's the first trip to the big game for a team once mocked as the Aints. And Kelly Kobiea tells us it couldn't come at a better time.
In a city once associated with sin and excess,
let's party New Orleans now, baby.
Then devastation and despair.
Katrina changed everything.
People have found new faith, and like most things in New Orleans, it has come from the unlikeliest of places. A winning football team aptly named the Saints.
Did you ever think you'd see this day?
No, but we often talked about it. Excuse me.
Jerry Romig has been announcing games for the Saints for 41 years. He raised his children here, then watched as his home, his history, and his city were washed away in Hurricane Katrina. If his team could come back, so could his town.
They used to say, hell will freeze over when we get to the Super Bowl. Well, hell must have frozen over.
At Lil Dizzy's, where locals talk over a cup of spicy gumbo, waitress Rosalind Martin cried when her team won because of how her city celebrated.
It wasn't just, white or black or any nationality. It looked like we just became one, just togetherness.
It gave us that one great feeling that we needed, that we can survive and we will be back and recover.
For now, at least, the soul of New Orleans lies in its new religion, where all the saints have numbers on their backs, and succeeding is just a matter of believing.
Who dat? Who dat say gonna beat them Saints?
Kelly Kobiella, CBS News, New Orleans.
And
a week before coaching his team in Super Bowl 44, Saints head coach Sean Payton even weighed in this afternoon.
I think, the people who are running these small businesses, I think we're fans of those people, and I don't think anyone can own Who Dat, personally.
It remains to be seen how things will end up for Who Dat when it comes to merchandise. Lauren Tom doesn't plan on fighting the NFL, but she says several attorneys have offered free representation, and she says state authorities are looking into the matter.
We're actually contacted by the Attorney General's office today to look into it further on behalf of the people of the city who are just trying to do this the right way. We just don't know who owns Who Dat, and that's the issue. I'm not trying to skirt around paying royalties at all. If someone owns a trademark, then we owe them a royalty, which is fine. But our question is, who does that belong to?
And for now, it's a question that is sparking emotions across the city. Some have spoken out against the NFL on social media sites, and there's even an online petition for folks who believe Who Dat should belong to the fans, if anyone. And I think it's tough to predict how this will end up, but obviously it is stirring some emotion.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Joined now alongside Saints starting center J.Goodwin. First, talk about going to the Pro Bowl and what that means to you to be, selected to such a prestigious game and such a prestigious honor for yourself.
It feels great, to be in the league this long and have a chance to go to the Pro Bowl. It feels great. It's an experience, that I'm going to cherish, and but it's hard for me to put in words. It feels good, and I feel honored.
Can you just talk about, I heard you talking about coming to New Orleans and why you decided to come here. When Jeff Fain left, I think people were kind of like, Jonathan who? And is this guy going to be able to help lead this offense and continue to be a big cog of this offense? Obviously, I think you've proved any doubters wrong. How does that feel to be a part of something so special and one of the top offenses since you've been here?
Feels special, to Coach Payton and Mickey Loomis and those guys. They believed in me, and I just wanted to come in and prove that they made a good decision. Hopefully, people feel like I've done that, but as long as they feel that way, that's what matters to me the most.
Did you see something when you first came here in this team, in these players, in this quarterback that made you say this is the groundwork of something special?
Yeah, it's a good offense. You got a quarterback like Drew Brees who's smart and makes so many of the right decisions. As an offensive lineman, that's a guy you want to play in front of.
And just final question here, can you talk about the challenges that the Indianapolis Colts defensive front present? They're known as a quote-unquote fast defensive front. What kind of challenges do they present to you guys up front?
Like you said, they're fast and they can move well. When you got big guys that can move well, they're tough to block. So it's definitely going to be a challenge for this line, and hopefully one we can get done.
I said that was the last question. I apologize. I have one more question for you. Every kid dreams of playing in the Super Bowl. How is it going to be? Can you even, put into words what it's going to be like to run out onto that field in front of billions of people watching worldwide and in the biggest stage, something you've dreamed about, I assume, since you were a kid?
Yeah, I can't imagine. It's going to be a big thrill for me, but at the same time, you can't get too rowdy because you still got a game to go out and try to win.
All right, J.Goodwin, we appreciate your time. Congratulations on the Pro Bowl again.
Thank you.
All right, back to you. Joined right now alongside Chris Reis. Talk about the journey you've had. So many guys on this team, late round draft picks, unsigned free agents. It seems like the locker room's full of you guys, and now you're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy. My ride's been a different one. I was undrafted free agent, signed by Atlanta, and got cut by them preseason. I thought I wasn't going to play again. The Saints ended up picking me up at the end of '06 when they were making their run, and sent me over to NFL Europe in '07. Played there, did pretty well, came back, made the team, and I've been here ever since.
Has it made you all tighter as a unit because you have so many guys that have had to work so hard to get just into the league to make this more special to go to the Super Bowl with you guys?
Absolutely. It's a different mentality when you're undrafted or when you have to work hard or when you've been on the street, as Greg always says. You appreciate the game a little bit more, you appreciate the league, and you want to work that much harder. So I think it's definitely it's a good mixture of guys who've been drafted, guys who want to work hard, they're undrafted undrafted free agents who want to prove themselves. So we've had a great time so far, and we're going to continue to push.
Just two more quick questions for you here. I'll ask you about Peyton in a second because you are a safety, but you do earn your living basically on special teams.
Yep.
What kind of challenges do they present on special teams to you all?
Well, they're a fast team. You know, they're very good at what they do. They execute very well. They're not fancy. They're just like us. They're not fancy. They don't try to do anything different. But they're tough guys. They play well. They're fast. They're hungry, and you know, we got to be ready for them.
And just talk about Peyton Manning. Obviously, the least sacked quarterback in the NFL. He's given every defense in the league fits. What do you all scheme to hit him harder, to get to him? Is there anything you do differently this week?
You know, it's hard to get to him. I know you probably heard all that before, and he's a quarterback that gets rid of the ball, and he does a great job of reading defenses and coming out and making plays and making great throws. I mean, he's the best at what he does. So, you know, we're going to try not to change up too much, and we're going to try to just get to him as best as we can and make plays and get the ball out and, you know, try to disrupt his timing a little bit.
And I know I said I had 2 questions. I have 3. Final question here. I apologize. Can you just talk a little bit about the pandemonium after the game? And can you even imagine what it would be like if you all come back here as Super Bowl champions after seeing what happened after the NFC Championship game?
You know what? I mean, I can't even put into words what it felt like after the NFC Championship. I mean, it was you just really, you can't. I mean, everybody's come up to me on the street, the fans, they can't even put it into words. It's one of those things that it's just, you feel it, you know, and it was so exciting. And I mean, I can't even imagine how it's going to be, you know, if we win the Super Bowl and how, I mean, I don't even know what to say. It's going to be great.
All right, Chris Reis, thank you so very much for your time. Really appreciate it. All right.